or more entrepreneurs and very successful businessmen, ultra successful businessmen, you name it, right? You have a lot of experience. You must have accumulated so much wisdom. Welcome to T.O.P. Truth Only Productions. Today we have a very VIP guest in our studio. Welcome, Mr. Ghani Macatoman.
Thank you, Dr. Elbe, for having me. And it's always a great honor and pleasure to be with you. And I'm happy that we'll be discussing something here in your program, podcast.
I think it's going to be one of those amazing podcasts because you have so much to share with the audience, I know, with your experience. First, I want to thank you for coming all the way from the Philippines to our studio. Thanks for coming. Thanks for making time. You have a lot of experience, private work, government experience. You started as a consultant even to the government's early ages. You've been an entrepreneur all your life, basically. And we are not going to get into all the businesses you've done because that would take hours. But what we want to do is extract your, experiences. So you've been an Undersecretary in trade and industry in the Philippines, and also you are a former Secretary of Commission on Filipinos Overseas. And you also have a lot of entrepreneurial experiences. You own several businesses. And then on top of all that, so you have your own show in the Philippines, which was first in a more limited regional channel. Now you are a nationwide channel, a very successful TV show in the Philippines. And I think it's been watched internationally. And in this show, you interviewed in the last, how many years?
7, 8 years.
7, 8 years. I think you told me that you interviewed about 800 or more entrepreneurs and very successul businessmen, ultra successful businessmen, you name it, right? You have a lot of experience.
That's right.
And you talked about their experiences, and you must have accumulated so much wisdom from these, just alone from these interviews, let alone as an international businessman, your experiences working for the government, working for even presidents of Philippines as a consultant, and secretary and undersecretary. So amazing. That's why I'm saying we have amazing VIP guests today here. I'm very looking so much forward to talk about your experiences. Now, as you know, we usually focus in this podcast about ethical businesses, ethical business practices. I myself, I believe in ethical business practices pays off. Pays off. It doesn't need to pay off. I mean, if you are an honest person, if you want to do business ethically, for personal reasons or some may say religious reasons, you don't have to necessarily benefit from it because you just want to make sure you treat everybody right and do run your business ethically. But I believe running your business ethically pays off. So let's start with that. Ethical business practices, does it really pay off?
Yes, this is a very important topic, Dr. Elve. As you said, that I have interviewed almost 1,000 successful business entrepreneurs in the Philippines. Those some are owner of the top 1,000 corporation in the Philippines, so to speak. And I have also interviewed business owner from small, medium, and large corporation. But what is very interesting is the wisdom of the business owner in the sector of conglomerate, like the ultra rich, successful businessman. And I always heard from them that ethical business means doing the right thing, even no one is watching.
Right.
So for me, that's very, very important. Hearing this mantra from the very successful business owner, like honoring commitments and treating people with respect. And it really pays off, like the business conglomerate owner, the way they respect their employee, and the way they also deal with their business partners, their major and minor stakeholders counterpart. It's really, really important. Though, as you said, it's pays off also because they started from their very solid foundation, honoring the ethical standard. It might be legal or illegal, and the experiences, the wisdom that I always heard from these people is it really pays off because it solidify their relationship. They establish the very solid the relationship with their partners, Dr. LP.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. So as far as treating the clients right, you said, for example, could you give us an example? How does it pay off to treat the clients right?
It pays off like for the long term. Maybe there are also successful businessmen. They earn, fast profit for their business, but they also attract so many legal problems,
True.
business scandals, and big issue.
Yeah, which affects their brand,
Yeah,
right? I mean,
the
their
brand
reputation.
Yeah, the brand reputation with their internally within their company, their employee, and also their suppliers, and a classic example is, but of course I won't mention those conglomerate in the Philippines that they have experienced business scandal, and they have to settle it quietly. And for me, yeah, they profited very fast, so huge, but also their action towards solving those problems is also very uneasy for them. But those businesses that I have mentor or that became my friend, business owner, and they really start good ethical standard beforehand in the beginning, because I always heard from them that don't wait when your business becomes big, and then you start creating your own high ethical standard. Before you start make your business big, you really have to set a good ethical standard for your business, so that as a leader, as a business owner, because you're the good role model. And really, I have maybe one of those is you, Dr. LB, and I saw your ethical standard in your business in the Philippines, and your staff, your employee became sure you set a standard of a good, highly ethical standard, so to speak, and up to now, you invest on them, and now they cannot leave you because they became very loyal to you. Your customer, the word of mouth that they look upon you. So these things maybe is the harvest of your good, highly ethical standard.
Thank you. I definitely agree. I wouldn't want to brag about my own practices or my business, but that's true that we really make that a center of our services, that we want to make sure that we treat customers right and fairly. That's why I think in 19 years of existence, we don't have a single lawsuit against our company, because we wanted to make sure that we treat everybody right, including the employees, as you said. And when your example it is great. So those companies who are taking shortcuts, cheating the clients or their employees, somehow they get into trouble eventually, and then that costs them a lot of monies, legal fees, attorney fees, right? So all that additional monies they thought they're going to be making will be going to that legal fees and then the fines and everything, right? So and on top of that, their reputation, their brand is affected. But companies who treat their customers right, they don't cheat with their products or services, they build this reputation, trust with their customers, that they know if they purchase from that company, they will have less problems. And even if they have a problem, they know they will get a good, reliable service to solve the problem, because that company stands behind it. And they are not looking for quick money schemes where they can sell quickly within a year or two and then disappear or switch to another product or whatnot. So I think most of the companies that we know worldwide who are still in business, I think if they were not following this, if they didn't practice ethical business practices, I think they wouldn't be able to build that value, that brand, right?
That is very right, Dr. LV. I don't know if I can mention company, multinational company in the Philippines that I have also, mentor, friend, and a classic example, if I may.
Sure.
The Ayala Group of Company. I know their CEO and their top level leader in the company. Their brand is so respected in the Philippines, even internationally. And a classic example of that are their project in the real estate industry. People don't need to ask around, who is the developer of that real estate, like in the residential, because people know their ethical standard.
Yeah.
So many company in the Philippines, homegrown, conglomerate company, and I can give so many classic examples, so to speak, because they started set up their company with high ethical standard, and people no need to ask around all their product in the sector of the financing and investing they own, in the real estate business and the aviation sector. They're very respected because of the standard they have started. And also there are large corporation also, but I won't mention those names, that they started very fast. They earn so huge amount of profit, so to speak. But the saying, easy come, easy go, and so many legal issue that ponder them, and also their people, their employee are not really that safe if your ethical standard is questionable.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of comparison, and not only in the field of business profitability, but also your concern about the social impact, the environmental concern. And we can also give example of some very popular international homegrown franchise from the Philippines, and their issue in the environmental issue, like the environmental compliant is very important. Not only compliant, but even how they deal with the government. They don't do shortcut, because after all, if you do this kind of shortcut practices in the future also, you sow what you plant. So these things are really very important for the aspiring and even the existing entrepreneur to set their highly ethical standard. Might be legal, like in the field of paying taxes. Maybe you can do tax avoidance. After all, tax avoidance is legal in the Philippines and in other countries internationally, but tax evasion is illegal. Yeah, evading taxation or government compliant. But what I'm saying here is, even no one is watching you, but as long as you know that that is immoral, even though it is legal, but still it is unethical.
I think the real estate example, the Ayala, is I think a good one, because since I know Philippines also very well, the developers and stuff, there are, of course, we are not gonna name them here, but those big companies developers who build major projects sold a lot initially. But then after several years, they start falling apart. Everything in the unit starts falling apart. A lot of leaks and bunch of problems. And then, of course, eventually, customers, those brokers, real estate agencies, they have all these beautiful advertisements and brochures and booths they are setting up, and then everything looks great. But when they approach the potential customers, they say, no, I will not do the same mistake again. Or they're going to say, yeah, my friend bought from you guys. Now, every time they have a problem, there are so many problems with their units. But for example, Ayala, because Ayala always using quality products, right? Good labor, quality labor. And then they stand behind their products. So it's going to sound like we are getting paid by Ayala here. By the way, they should pay us. But that's who they are. I mean, Ayala is doing really great job. It's really, I think that's why it pays off. I think if somebody wants to buy from Ayala, right, they don't have that much concern, right? They know they are buying a quality product. So that's a very good example. So they built this reputation by how? By respecting the customer, by being ethical, and can they steal from the products, right? They can use low quality, and initially it's not going to be visible. Everything's going to be shiny, beautiful looking when they are purchasing it, but eventually it's going to deteriorate very fast because they didn't use ethical standards. They use substandard parts, let's say, and stuff like that. I think Ayala is a very good example. As far as the environmental compliance, there are also things like, I think what I heard, again, I'm not going to mention names here, but there are companies who have brought their plants to the Philippines because we eventually find out, of course, that work has some hazard to health. So all these employees who worked in that plant eventually develop health issues, including cancer. So, Mr. Ghani, you are a Muslim. You identify yourself as a Muslim. Basically, you're a Muslim businessman. When it comes to Islam and ethical business practices, how would you identify those practices in Islam? Is it doing business? What is ethical, doing ethical business looks like in Islam?
This is a very interesting question, Dr. Elvi. In the Islamic point of view, there is floodgates of business opportunity in the halal industry, because halal means permissible and haram means not permissible.
Yes, I'm sorry to interrupt you here, but we forgot to mention that you published a book about this field. What was your book's name?
Yeah, my book that I authored is Global Halal Economy, and
Yes.
I travel to the more than 80 Muslim country. I observed the ethical, the halal way, and there is also floodgates of business opportunity here, especially ethical. We are talking about ethical business standard.
Yes, in Islam.
In Islam.
Okay.
And I want to correlate this, in the global, in the Middle East, like here in United Arab Emirates, the Gulf Cooperation Council, the the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Bahrain, Qatar. You can see the business environment here, the ethical standard of the Muslim, how they conduct business. If you compare apple to apple, doing business here in the GCC country, and we compare it to how we do business also in the first world country and even the developing country, the Association of Southeast Asian Country. The role model for me, not because I am a Muslim, but because I am also a consultant to so many firms here in the GCC country. And the standard of doing business here is, in the GCC country, Dr. LV, they have a very good ethical standard of doing business in the GCC country. And like the way they deal with their supplier, like in the field of agricultural product from the developing country, now they're shifting. ASEAN countries, they more exporting. They prefer to export here because according to them, the ethics of the business people, entrepreneur here, they prefer it. And and if you take a look at also the tourism industry here, they're shifting in doing, even here the climate is like you have a 9-month summer here in the Middle East country compared to the first world country in the west. Still people now are shifting because I heard even to those like the Filipino entrepreneurs, of course they are not Muslim, but with the point of view of ethical standard dealing with the business entrepreneur coming from the GCC country, not only in the GCC country, even Turkey, Egypt. I think they like interested doing business, because according to them, in the Muslim world, they are adopting really the good ethical standard of doing business.
So, as a businessman, as a Muslim businessman, what are the business ethical values that guides you in doing business with your clients, with your partners?
There are like the ultra big conglomerate companies that helps small businesses, like Big Brother helping small brother, like a successful business people, giving 2.5% zakat or charity to the needy. I think this is a classic example of doing good, ethical or standard of, because if we do this for you, for the entrepreneur, I think this is a very small amount of money, so to speak, to help not only small entrepreneur but the needy people, especially now. It's a month of Ramadan, and it's one of the very basic that can be very beneficial to the needy people. This giving zakat, charity to the needy people.
So the project you handled in Philippines, right, when you were the Undersecretary in BTI, I think you had a project like this, right? You helped the almost poor entrepreneurs. They don't have the capital, but they have a good business idea or they have certain skills. Could you tell us how did you also, have you received help from the big brothers, let's say?
Yeah, actually, even before I joined the government as Undersecretary and later as a Secretary for the Commission on Filipino Overseas, in my private capacity, I do that also, connecting those needy people or small businessman. And I would like to cite a classic example in my ministry, Department of Trade and Industry, when I was there, like the loan that we grant to the micro, small entrepreneurs. If they can convince us in the government that they are really good business, that they want to start or expand their business, we give them loan with no interest.
Nice.
Or,
that's part of also actually Islamic tradition,
yes,
right?
That's
no
right.
interest, because interest is putting these people in a worse situation sometimes, because paying back the interest becomes a big burden to them sometimes. That's one thing that Islam actually promotes, is to not to charge any interest. And then governments, especially, right, maybe the GCC government or some other Muslim countries, I think they use that, right, to help
Yes.
entrepreneurs.
That's right, Dr. Elvi, that, this micro, small entrepreneurs would like to do their own business, but they don't have capital. Even, in the government, because government is very separate and it's not really the business of the government giving loan. But we created a special finance investment sector in my department that help those small business. And like we connect them to those big foundation all over the world that can help those small entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs.
That's a great help. Yeah.
And no interest.
Yeah.
And of course, we have really to check. But now, numbering to so many who became very successful.
Really?
Yes,
Wow.
micro, small entrepreneurs. Now they're very successful because after all, like in my country, it's a developing country. Our population is like more than 100 million. And, if you are big, you're already big. And it's also your, like a gratitude, helping also people, not only the needy people, but helping those aspiring entrepreneurs who would like to be big also and create more job opportunity for the Filipino.
Correct.
So
Correct.
these are classic example of good ethical standard of an entrepreneur, of a business leader, of a business owner.
I agree. I want to ask you a question now. Take your time to think about this one, because you have so many, I'm sure. What's the most valuable wisdom you got from your interviewing your very successful entrepreneurs and business people?
Most important wisdom.
Like valuable wisdom.
Yeah. I think the most valuable that I heard to so many, if not all, maybe more than 90% successful entrepreneur, conglomerate, super ultra conglomerate company owner, and even the large and the small business owner that I have interviewed, that I commonly heard from them is like, your network is your net worth. That means it's very important, your integrity as a businessman, as a person. That's why our topic is very interesting, because very similar.
Exactly.
Integrity. Your network is your net worth.
Wow, so that's very interesting.
Yes.
So out of this almost 800 or more business people, entrepreneurs you talk to, commonly they said what helped them to succeed is their network.
It's their network.
And then they said basically their wealth, their net worth is their network.
Yes.
And now you're saying, well, to build a network, a long-lasting network, you need to be a trustworthy person, right? You need to be trustable. You need to have integrity, because otherwise these people will disconnect from you, right?
Trust. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Very interesting, because if you build trust as a business owner, your network will run after you because you have a good integrity. People trusted you. It's like a money begets money. So you don't need to market yourself, because you establish your good network as a good businessman. Your integrity as a business owner, the trust is there already. So, people, prospective partner will chase you because they want to do business with you.
True.
So that's very, very important. I commonly heard from my more than 800 successful entrepreneur. Wow. Most of them are part of the top 1,000 corporation in the Philippines. So, and even international business owner that I have talked to, I've interviewed also, that became also my personal friend. Common saying, mantra that I heard from them is the one that I said, that your network is your net worth. Yeah.
Have you seen any example where businesses or people who admitted they didn't follow business ethics, they took shortcuts because they got tempted to make big money in short time, and they didn't follow these values? Do you have any example what happened to that person?
Yes.
Without maybe mentioning his or her name.
Personally, I have experienced not only one, two friends who became instant multimillionaires, or shall I say instant billionaires. A classic example is, of course I won't mention names, but I have a good friend. He's into construction business. He became instant billionaires because of getting government contracts. By getting government contracts, he has to bribes government official, and he do bribing government senior official, and he became an instant billionaire. By doing that, not really observing or following the good business ethics. Now, they are husband and wife. They're now into jail.
Oh.
So, it's very, very important to do and follow the ethical standard in business. Because by doing so, in the long run, it will gonna benefit you, and you become a very good you are setting a good standard or good brand in the business sector, and people will always want to go deal with you. Yeah.
Why did they end up in the prison? Because they found out they
Yes.
bribed, or they did
Yeah,
some
because
other things?
most of their project they do it like substandard,
Substandard.
and
So eventually they figured out
eventually,
that they were actually
the
not
government
really
found
qualified.
out. Yeah, the government also found out that like that, and government alone filed cases against them for doing not only one substandard projects, two substandard project, but
I see.
and now they found guilty, and they started like in a very they want to earn more profit and fast,
Yeah. So that's a good example. So
Yeah.
they were not qualified because they don't
They're
have,
qualified actually.
but they made substandard projects.
They
They
said
were qualified, but they use substandard.
substandard, and for them to be able to collect, they bribe government official, and they're successful in bribing.
There's so much greed going on here,
Yeah.
right? I mean, they bribed, they got the project. So if they had done maybe something good, a good quality, whatever they're supposed to do, maybe they wouldn't get into trouble, which is still unethical. But I mean, they bribed them first. That's already unethical. And then after that, they didn't do the job right.
That's right.
Again, other greed. So it's like they cut from like material or whatnot, right? They use substandard materials maybe. So it's like so much greed going on there, right? And that's part of I think that's part of
Unethical.
being unethical.
Yes,
Right.
and
Not respecting your potential
and also
clients,
we
partners.
have this very famous mantra in business, Dr. Elvi, that you get what you want and you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
And now they're paying it
Yes.
convicted in the court of justice, and now they're in jail.
Yeah.
So that's a classic example.
Exactly, and that's the if you are, that's the mindset. If your mindset is, hey, I'm an ethical person, I'm gonna do everything in an ethical way, then you wouldn't take these risks. It would protect you
Correct.
from these kind of very risky situations, like even like going to prison.
Yes.
So because you wouldn't bribe, that means you wouldn't take that risk.
Sure.
So it would protect you, right?
right.
Being ethical is not only about building reputable brand and business, but it's also some kind of protection, right? In that
That's right.
sense, in this example.
That's right.
Yeah.
Not only the way you do business, the ethics of handling your employee, your organic member of the family, the way how you protect also your stakeholders or your investor in the company. So, in the long run, you are setting a good example or a solid foundation for your business and your stakeholders in business.
You're right. My own experience about treating people right. I admit I was a little bit too result-oriented leader, manager,
Yes.
or business owner. So I push people to their limits, and then maybe I've been harsh to them sometimes, to get things done. And then I was getting things done. But then I realized, first you feel bad about it, okay? And people they won't like you. And you will not have a high retention. The turnover rate is going to be very high. People are going to keep resigning. So eventually, I decided to become a people-oriented manager, so that building that relationship with your team. Of course, we as managers or business owners, we always need to push them. Pushing them to their limits are actually sometimes good, but there's also a matter of style, how you do that and how much you do it. So I think that helped to build a better relationship with my employees, my management team. Of course, nobody's perfect, but I benefited from that. I agree,
Dr. Elvi, if you will allow me, because it's an honor also for me. Like 3 years ago, when I was the Minister of Overseas Filipino, and I interviewed you, and while interviewing you on my television channel, I received several or maybe 100 of good comments about you, that this in the medical field, especially Filipino that you sent or assessed in the first world country, thanking you that, oh, that company owned by Dr. LV, one who helped us, the good standard that you have established, and you're harvesting by the good words uttered by those Filipino. Now they're enjoying good life in the other country that you have helped, aside from the good standard that how you deal with your senior manager in your company is really good to emulate.
Thank you. Of course, we tried our best to treat our customers right. And as far as, of course, dealing with your managers, your team, it's not easy. It's like a family.
I'm a witness of that.
Thank you for that. But it's like a family.
Yes,
and
yes.
we call ourselves, we are a big family. We say that always. Of course, I'm not perfect, and we have problems sometimes.
Yes.
It's like a family. We have problems. Maybe I say things to them, or get angry to each other. We hate each other. But then I think at the end of the day, if we're still together after 18, 19 years, we have so many employees, about 8, 10, 12, 15, 18 years with the company. That means we must be doing something right. Out of all these hundreds of interviews, which one was the most interesting interview for you?
Of course, the interesting interview that I had are the conglomerate who started from zero. The owner of a conglomerate business, which started a very humble beginning, and his employee loves him so much. His client loves him so much because of the ethical standard that he has. And I don't know if I can mention the name, but I'm willing to mention the name. Yeah, he's the owner of Centro Mall, like community mall in the Philippines. He has like 36 malls in the Philippines. He started very humble beginning. He's like a houseboy something, and he started community mall businesses, real estate businesses. He's into banking and finance investment businesses. So for me, that's very, very interesting, because the way he sets a standard in his company, like employing more than 20,000 in his company, and like the way that I really admire is like treating also his senior manager, going abroad together with him during the holidays, and his employee, especially the senior manager, loyalty to him. They did not leave him. Nobody want to leave him, So for me, that's really one classic, very unforgettable experience that I have interviewing the owner of Centro Mall. His name is Mr. Alex Cruz, if I may.
But if you could give an example from yourself, I'm not sure if I asked this question earlier, but if you could give an example, most outstanding example of you doing a ethical business that really paid off for you.
Dr. LV, one of my advocacy, as you know, is like we help needy people, like especially the Korban sharing. I think for me that's very, very important and very unforgettable, because I do that once a year, and it benefits not only 100 or maybe thousands of needy people, and it's an advocacy for me for more than 10 years already. I also invite you and other friends who understand the sharing. So during the Eid, and I think it pays off also because, a lot of people also doing like that, they imitate, and for me, it's even if I stop doing that because a lot of people also adopted that kind of good advocacy, ethical standard that I was, doing even before I joined the government. Now, even if I join the government, I still do it.
So basically, you're saying is a business, you have corporate responsibilities, you
Yes,
donate, and then take care of your community and stuff like that. I mean, if you're a businessman and you're in one type of field, and you have a business that you're specialized in something. So it doesn't mean that even if you are specialized in one business as a businessman, it doesn't mean that you cannot start other businesses, get involved in other businesses, open a different business, right? So by operating ethically with your partners and your clients, you build your reputation as a ethical person, trustable, someone with integrity. And as a result, when another business opportunity comes up to your partners, let's say, and then they need someone who they can trust, maybe to invest in or to partner it or manage it or be part of it, be part of the board, become a board member of it. So you are the first name that comes up because they think, who can we trust?
Yes.
Right? Because everybody wants trustable partners. Nobody wants a partner who's lying, deceiving. You cannot trust him or her because you never know if he's going to keep his promise.
Yes.
Or you cannot trust if he's going to steal or not because if he get the chance to steal, they steal.
Yes.
As long as it's not, they can't steal without, people realizing it. But eventually, people find out. But there are so many benefits, looks like, doing business in an ethical way because it opens other opportunities, right? Well, Mr. Ghani, it's been a great pleasure to host you here. I think it's been a great session with you. And thank you for your time. I know you have a flight tonight. You're going to fly back. So thank you very much. Thank you for being here and sharing your very valuable experiences and wisdom with me and with the audiences.
Thank you so much. The pleasure is mine.